in November, we started withholding our rent. So I have not paid Charles, and nobody has been paying him rent. We've formed a tenant union.
Okay, we're here at YEEHAW in a home. We are talking with Heather, and we're going to learn more about what it's been like for Heather as a tenant of YEEHAW here at what is described as an intentional community, and has basically faced a number of challenges. Some of them the county has brought to their attention in the form of code enforcement showing up and putting yellow tags on certain buildings and vehicles, and then also challenges kind of originating from a dispute over the border of the land shared with Mercer Frasier. So there's an easement dispute further complicating the code enforcement situation, things that need to be kind of upgraded to code per code enforcement, things like electricity, outhouse use, that kind of thing, and building permits. We're going to learn more about that from Heather and what the current status of her tenancy is here on the property as things kind of heat up.
Yeah, we came in here 5 years ago. It was a complete culture shock for me. I've never lived anywhere like this before. I've never experienced an intentional community. I actually answered an ad on Craigslist for a cabin for rent, looking for a stable place in this housing crisis. It was very eclectic here, as people can see. It was a little scary at first, but the community members here welcomed us and were so friendly and heartwarming. I felt safe here. It was a very good experience when I first moved here. I saw the condition of the homes here. I had my pick when I first moved here.
Okay.
There was quite a few cabins that were empty.
Oh.
And I chose the station house here. I thought it would be a great fit for our family.
This is an old building, no?
Yeah, it is. It's grandfathered in here. It's one of the only structures that's actually really allowed here for YEEHAW.
Okay.
It was built off some of the old lumber from the railroad station back in the 1800s here.
How has it been?
It's been a roller coaster ride. It's been a lot of good. There's been a lot of bad. It's been a long 5 years. We have monthly meetings. You've been to some of those. We talk about work parties there and things that need to get done. There's a general rule here. If you see something that needs to get done, just do it. If something needs work or if something needs to happen, we would just get together. You can call forth a meeting. You can get things done. We're very action-driven people here. We want to just get it done.
I guess people are kind of interested to know what are the different structures like. Like, some of them are converted vehicles, some of them are actual brick and mortar. Can you elaborate on that, the variations?
Yeah, so we have a few school buses here that are really cool. One of the original other places on the property here was a school bus that Charles brought his family here on almost 40 years ago. And that's been converted into a small house that's got structure above it. There's a few school buses like that. I believe there's 3 school buses. There's quite a few trailers, campers that people live in. And then we have cabins. We have about five cabins that are here, I believe. My house is one of them. This is the 3-story house for here. Most of them only go first floor or second.
Okay.
And then we have the community house that's a 3-story yurt. that's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Yeah.
So
Is that the one that's like an octagon shape?
yeah, it's all the structures here are pretty unique.
Mm-hmm.
The community house has a drawbridge that comes down and we have music play on it. It's painted for chess or for giant checkers. It's really fun.
Yeah, I've seen that. So then flash forward to today, and we've recently done some coverage on Mercer Frasier coming up the driveway, removing a gate, removing several vehicles that had been tagged by the county to either be fixed or removed. And some of those, one of them needed new wheels, another one just needed a battery, those kind of simple fixes. They kind of remained there until Mercer Frasier was told by the county, hey, we're issuing a notice of violation because you haven't cleaned this up. And the county believed that those items were located on the property of Mercer Frasier. It's kind of like if you split the driveway down the middle, the county considered that one side, whatever was on it, to be Mercer Frasier's problem.
Yeah.
Even though it was property of YEEHAW or residents or Charles Garth's property. It was kind of a mixed bag. But then when Mercer Frasier came in and took it upon themselves to remove all of that, in arriving today, we see that there's boulders lining the driveway. There's a clear line of signs posted now saying Mercer Frasier private property, which seems that they have kind of moved that up into the driveway now that they have accessed that and removed the gate. And so with all that being said, that's sort of an ugly backdrop for your personal dilemmas regarding where to live, right?
Right.
Can you tell us what you're going through and the challenges you're facing with living here at YEEHAW now?
So we have been battling with the quarry doing this for the past week, especially with the boulders that they have put in. They actually cross into they encroach off the line. They're supposed to stay in the middle, put them on their side, and they put them directly on the surveyor lines. They're supposed to be on their side of them. When we had surveyors, the county surveyors even come in here, that it was not part of the road that comes up past my house, but it is to where they have the boulders on the other side of our gate. So they are coming in here this upcoming week to supposedly put in more boulders at the end of my own driveway. I have a driveway that comes off of the main driveway. So I will not have access for that anymore. I will not be able to park near my house. So I will have to walk, I'd say 300 to 500 feet away from my house now.
About a football field?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For where I would have to park now instead of the convenience of being able to park in front of my house.
Right.
That's just the Mercer Frasier aspect of it.
How do you now see your landlord in terms of being a steward of the land and also as a landlord?
It's difficult. My own personal challenges with living here have always been with the outdated electricity and water.
Sure.
And when we moved in, we had an agreement that tenants would be able to make their own upgrades. We have attempted to do so. We even upgraded the water for this end of the property, and it was unfortunately put in a shutoff valve before our house from Charles and made us go back to the way it was. And I'm not still understanding why he has completely stopped tenants from being able to upgrade things. We had an electrician come in to appraise what we would need to upgrade from our house all the way to the central house
Okay.
for upgrades for the electrical. And it would cost $2,000. That's not including the inside of the structures. That's just upgrading the electricity going from our fuse box where our power comes in to here along the line. And people can figure out the inside of their structures from there,
Okay.
which are not safe. Electrical here is not safe. And Charles has been against it every step of the way. And that has been a battle because that was an agreement we had when we first moved in to be able to make upgrades and make this a better living situation.
Yeah.
So that's been really frustrating. Quality of life is affected because we cannot shower here. I can wash my dishes, thankfully.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's extremely difficult. Sometimes it's extremely difficult to even wash my dishes.
Because is it just low flow? Like,
yes.
Okay.
We are on the one end of the property, and there's so many households for this well that if anybody's using the water, our water pressure goes out.
Wow.
And at the best of times, it's not enough to turn on my water heater sometimes. So we all have gym memberships for the Club for Fitness, and that can be pricey. The money that I spend on that, I could put into upgrading here. I had a pump put on for this end of the property. It took care of not just my household, but it took care of our elders over here, my friends who are disabled, and the trailers. It took care of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 households, and he made us take it out. It gave us water pressure. And one of those people are disabled who's had a stroke, and 2 elderly in our household. And we went back to not having water pressure. And it took pressure off our well to help everybody else. It wasn't immediately helping. It helped the system run more efficiently.
When was this?
This was this past summer. And I feel like that was the last straw with trying to make upgrades to make our living arrangements here better.
Yeah.
And improve them. So in November, we started withholding our rent.
Okay.
So I have not paid Charles, and nobody has been paying him rent. We've formed a tenant union.
Okay.
With a president, a secretary, and a treasurer. And
among the tenants?
Yes.
Okay.
Because we are trying to fight for our homes here, and it feels like we are battling Charles to do so. I love to be able to say that Charles, we used to be friends when I first moved here, and now I feel like, unfortunately, there is not much of a difference in this present moment for him to be a slumlord.
I mean, my next question was going to be, what is the difference between the way Charles is running the property and the way a stereotypical quote-unquote slumlord would run maybe a city block?
So I feel like there used to be a huge difference with that. This used to be a sanctuary for people, and I still feel like it is a sanctuary, but not because of Charles, but because of the intentional community members that are here, because of the other tenants that are here. I feel like there's still hope that Charles can work with us, but in this present moment, because he's not allowing people to do the upgrades that the county needs us to do,
Yeah.
and not to be in compliance with the county, I feel like he in this present moment is a slumlord. And I have hope still that we can negotiate with him. We are having a meeting with a neutral party between the tenant union here and Charles, for us to be able to negotiate terms and demands, because we love our homes here. We love Yeehaw, and I feel like it's just being caught up in a power struggle with the county and with everything has made this such a hot mess that people have forgotten why Yeehaw's really here. This is supposed to be a low-income, intentional community and a sanctuary for people. I feel like a lot of people have forgotten that, even Charles. And I still feel like there's hope. I can't help but to have hope that we can find that again. It just is going to take work and a lot of compromise from everybody to do so.
Like perhaps redrafting the social contract of Yeehaw?
I think so. I feel like that is a good step, and trying to have compromise from Charles. So I've received a 3-day pay or quit notice.
I see. Yeah.
As
That's
did
different.
one of the other tenants on the longest tenant that he's had on this property. He's been here for 18 years. Has also received one over one payment that he didn't receive from that tenant. And that's extreme. That's really extreme.
Does that seem out of character? Go
It's
ahead.
so out of character. I feel like the past few months, since summertime, I'm starting to not recognize Charles. I'm not quite sure like why he's so focused on money with this right now. I don't know if it's pressure from the county to get so much done and all of it costs money. He's he's completely different person, someone that I can't be friends with.
From here, what do you hope to happen?
I'm actually hoping that we can still save Yeehaw here. We have negotiations with the tenant union and a neutral party helping us have negotiations with Charles. Still
Like a mediator?
Hopeful. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Still hopeful for that. Because there's so much that we can do here, even with the ups and downs. This has been my home for the past 5 years. And I love being able to say I have my hippie-made cabin in the woods in Trinidad. I do like my hippie-made cabin. I just wish it had better electric and water.
It's kind of rough not being able to shower in your home.
Yeah.
What could Charles do to benefit Yeehaw in terms of the tenant-landlord relationship?
Okay. So I've even told Charles I have not spent his rent, that we have it for him. I'm more than happy to continue to pay him rent as long as he continues to work with us. If he's willing to work with us to be able to make these upgrades that are necessary for Yeehaw, that we're more than happy to pay him rent. And that is true. I am more than happy to pay him rent as long as we can do what's needed to make Yeehaw a safe family home for people. That's exactly it. I want Yeehaw to be the safe, intentional community that I first moved here for. I want that back, not just for me. I want that for all the other tenants, or if anybody else comes to seek sanctuary here at Yeehaw. I want my friendship back with Charles. Because of all this, I feel like I did lose a friend. And that's really hard too. If he's willing to work with us, we're willing to work with him. We're willing to fight with him if he's willing to fight with us, instead of fighting each other.